Lily, you shouldn't let Uzo be your heir. He is not your real son. Your real son is Chidi. He should be rightfully inheriting everything. In a beautiful city called Owerri, there lived a man named Collins and his pretty wife Lily. They were like two lovebirds, always happy and playful together. Collins was outgoing and fun, while Lily was sweet and gentle. They had been married for over 10 years, but they didn't have children. Lily wanted to have children very much, so she convinced Collins to visit many clinics to find out why they couldn't have babies. But every time they went, the doctors said they were both healthy and there was no medical problem. Despite this, Lily felt sad and lonely because they couldn't have babies. She would often lock herself in their room and cry, feeling like she was all alone in the world. But Collins was always there for her, comforting her and telling her that he believed God would bless them with children one day. They lived in a cozy little house with a garden filled with colorful flowers. Collins loved to spend time in the garden, tending to the plants and making sure they were healthy. Lily would sometimes join him and they would talk about their dreams of having a big family one day. One evening, as they sat together in the garden watching the sunset, Lily turned to Collins with tears in her eyes. "I just don't understand why we can't have our own children," she said softly. "I feel like I'm not a real woman because of it." Collins took her hand and looked into her eyes. "Don't say that, my love," he said gently. "You are the one wonderful woman I know, and having children doesn't change that. We just have to be patient and trust that God has a plan for us." Lily nodded, feeling a little better knowing that Collins was by her side. They sat in silence for a while, enjoying each other's company and the beauty of the evening. As the days passed, Lily tried to stay positive, but it was hard knowing that they might never have children of their own. She found herself feeling more and more alone, even when Collins was right beside her. One day, as she was cleaning the house, Lily came across an old photo album filled with pictures of her and Collins from their early days together. As she flipped through the pages, she couldn't help but smile at the memories they had shared. But as she looked at the photos, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness, knowing that they might never have children to share those same memories with. Tears welled up in her eyes as she closed the album and put it back on the shelf. That night, as they lay in bed together, Lily couldn't hold back her tears any longer. She turned to Collins and sobbed. "I just don't know how much longer I can keep hoping for something that may never happen." Collins held her close, his heart breaking to her in so much pain. "I know it's hard, my love," he whispered, "but we can't lose hope. We have each other, and as long as we have that, we can get through anything together." Lily nodded, feeling a little comforted by Colin's words. She knew he was right, but it was hard to stay positive when their biggest dream seemed so far out of reach. But despite the pain and uncertainty, Collins and Lily never stopped believing that one day their prayers would be answered and they would be blessed with the children they had always longed for. And as they held onto each other, they knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together, hand in hand. One sunny afternoon, Colin's mother, Madam Obi, came to visit them without telling them beforehand. Lily was surprised to see her mother-in-law suddenly standing at the door. "Good afternoon, Mama," Lily said, smiling warmly. But Madam Obi didn't seem happy to see Lily. Keep your greeting to yourself, she snapped. Lily didn't let the harsh words bother her. You didn't tell us you were coming. Did you need something? She asked politely. Madam Obi replied sharply. So I should ask for permission before coming to my son's house. I don't think so. Lily was taken aback by the rudeness, but tried to stay calm. I just meant it would have been nice to know you were coming, she explained. But Madam Obi wasn't interested in listening. She grabbed her bag from Lily's hand and warned her never to touch her things again. Then she said something that made Lily's heart sink. You need to give me grandchildren soon. Otherwise, maybe my son should find a wife who can, Madam Obi said sternly. Lily couldn't hold back her tears any longer. She ran to her room, feeling hot and upset. Madam Obi just sighed and went to the guest room to unpack her things. As Lily sat in her room, she couldn't stop the tears from falling. She felt like she was being treated unfairly by her mother-in-law. She loved Collins very much, but she didn't know if she could handle the pressure from Madam Obi anymore. Meanwhile, Collins was unaware of the tension between his wife and his mother. He had gone out to run some errands and wouldn't be back until later. When he finally returned home, he was surprised to find Lily still in her room, looking upset. Lily, what's wrong? He asked, concerned. Lily wiped her tears and tried to compose herself. It's nothing, Collins, just a little tired, that's all, she lied. But Collins could tell something was bothering her. You can tell me, Lily, I'm here for you, he said gently. So Lily told him about the argument with his mother, Madam Obi, and how she felt pressured to give her a grandchild. Collins listened carefully, his expression turning serious as he realized the extent of the problem. I'm sorry, Lily. I didn't know she said such things to you, Collins said, feeling guilty for not being there to protect his wife. Lily shook her head. It's not your fault, Collins, but I don't know how much longer I can handle her criticism and demands, she admitted. Collins took her hands in his and looked into her eyes. We will figure this out together, Lily, I promise, he said earnestly, feeling a little better knowing that Collins was on her side. Lily nodded gratefully. They hugged each other tightly, finding comfort in each other's embrace. But the problem with Madam Obi wasn't going to disappear overnight. Lily knew she would have to confront her mother-in-law eventually if things were going to change. But for now, she was content to have Collins by her side, ready to face whatever challenges came their way. And so, as the sun began to set on another day, Lily and Collins stood together, united in their love and determination. The next morning, Madam Obi called Collins into her room, and Lily's heart sank. She knew what it meant. Madam Obi was going to talk to Collins about the same thing again, about wanting grandchildren. My son, do you want to die childless? Do you want me to die without carrying my grandchildren? Madam Obi said, tears welling up in her eyes. Lily listened from outside the room, feeling anxious and worried about what would happen next. I know you are a good Christian, but you have tried. Even God won't be angry if you marry someone else so you can have children, Madam Obi continued, her voice shaky with emotion. Mama, please stop this. It's God that gives children. I've told you before that Lily and I are medically okay. It's now up to God to bless us with children, Collins pleaded with his mother, trying to make her understand that it wasn't anyone's fault that they didn't have children yet. Madam Obi's tone turned accusing. So it is your fault. You never told me you were impotent. It's not in our lineage. So where is it coming from? She asked, her voice rising. Collins felt hurt by his mother's words. Mama, I never said I was impotent, please. Stop tormenting Lily. God's timing is the best. He defended himself. But Madam Obi seemed to have made up her mind. I can see I am not welcome in your house anymore. Don't worry. I will leave your house and I will never step my feet here again. Continue enjoying your childlessness, she said angrily, grabbing her bag and storming out of the house before Collins could stop her. Lily felt a mix of emotions as she watched Madam Obi leave. She was relieved that the tension was over, but she also felt sad that things had come to this. She knew Collins loved his mother despite their disagreements, and she didn't want to see their relationship strained because of her. Collins looked at Lily with a troubled expression. I'm sorry, Lily. I never wanted things to end like this, he said regretfully. Lily shook her head, trying to reassure him. It's not your fault, Collins. We'll figure things out together, she said, holding his hand tightly. And so, as they stood together in their empty house, Lily and Collins knew that they would face whatever challenges came their way, as long as they had each other. For in the end, their love would always be stronger than any obstacle they encountered. After the heated argument between Collins and his mom, Collins couldn't shake off the worry that his mother couldn't hold fast to God's timing, but he tried not to let Lily notice his worries. One night, after their bedtime prayers, Lily told Collins she wanted to talk to him about something important. Honey, please, I want us to adopt a baby. Since God didn't find us fit to have children of our own, we could have children playing around the house, Lily said, her voice trembling with emotion. Collins was shocked by Lily's suggestion. Sweetheart, have you lost faith in God? Why would you think of such a thing? Please, have faith. God will visit us soon. He comforted his wife, trying to reassure her. But Lily wasn't convinced. She tried to persuade Collins, but he dismissed her idea, telling her it was time to sleep. Disappointed, Lily wiped away her tears and lay by her husband's side until she eventually drifted off to sleep. The topic of adoption continued to come up over the week, but Collins remained firm in his belief that they should wait for God's timing. As they faced these new challenges in their marriage, Lily couldn't help but feel a sense of frustration and sadness. She loved Collins deeply and wanted nothing more than to build a family with him, but she couldn't shake off the feeling that their dreams of having children were slipping further and further away. Collins, on the other hand, struggled with his own doubts and fears. He wanted to believe that God would bless them with children, but as time passed without any sign of miracle, he found it hard to hold on to his faith. Despite their differences, Lily and Collins tried to support each other through this difficult time. They prayed together every night, asking for God's strength and guidance, and they leaned on each other for comfort and reassurance. But deep down, they both knew that their journey was far from over. They would need to find a way to reconcile their hopes and dreams with the reality of their situation, and they would need to do it together as a team. As they lay in bed each night, holding hands and whispering words of love and encouragement to each other, Lily and Collins knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it together hand in hand, with faith and love guiding their way. After about a month of Lily's constant request to adopt a child, Collins finally gave in. They began the process of adoption, and at the end of it, they welcomed a cute 6-month-old baby into their home. Lily was overjoyed, and so was Collins. She couldn't stop carrying the baby around, cuddling and cooing over him all day long. Collins called his mother to share the good news, but he was shocked by her response. I didn't know you were this senseless, Collins. Since you can't have your own child, continue fooling yourself with another man's blood. You don't even know if it's from a criminal, his mom said cruelly. Collins couldn't believe his moms would say such hurtful words to him. He felt deeply saddened by her reaction, but Lily was too excited about their new baby to let anything ruin her happiness. She focused all her attention on the child, showering him with love and affection. Friends and family came to visit and celebrate with them. They all admired the baby and congratulated Lily and Collins on their new addition to the family. They decided to name the baby UZO, which means the way in their language. UZO was surrounded by love and attention from Lily and Collins. They doted on him, making sure he had everything he needed and more. Lily couldn't stop thanking God for bringing UZO into their lives. She believed that he was a special gift from above, sent to bless them with joy and happiness. As they settled into their new life as a family of three, Lily and Collins knew that their journey was just beginning. They had faced many challenges along the way, but they had also experienced the power of love and faith to overcome them. And with UZO in their lives, they felt more blessed than ever before. As UZO settled into his new home with Lily and Collins, their days were filled with laughter, cuddles, and endless joy. Lily took to motherhood like a duck to water, delighting in every moment spent with her precious baby boy. Collins too was smitten with UZO, cherishing the bond they shared as father and son. UZO quickly became the center of their universe, bringing light and warmth into their home. His giggles filled the air, and his curious eyes sparkled with wonder as he explored the world around him. Lily and Collins watched in awe as their son grew and flourished before their very eyes. With each passing day, Lily and Collins grew more confident in their roles as parents. They read books on parenting, attended parenting classes, and sought advice from friends and family. They wanted to give UZO the best possible start in life, and they were determined to do whatever it took to ensure his happiness and well-being. One day, as UZO was playing on the floor, Lily noticed something peculiar about him. She noticed that he wasn't reaching the same milestones as other babies his age. He wasn't sitting up or babbling like they expected him to do. Concerned, Lily shared her observations with Collins, and together they decided to take UZO to see a doctor. The doctor examined UZO carefully and conducted a series of tests. After what felt like an eternity of waiting, they finally received the results. The doctor gently explained that UZO had a development delay, which meant that he would need extra support and assistance to reach his milestones. Lily and Collins felt a wave of emotions wash over them as they processed the news. They felt worried about what the future held for their son, but they also felt determined to do whatever it took to help him thrive. They vowed to be there for UZO every step of the way, supporting him and cheering him on as he faced his challenges head-on. With the guidance of the doctor and the support of their friends and family, Lily and Collins embarked on a journey of discovery and growth alongside UZO. They learned about different therapies and interventions that could help him, and they worked tirelessly to create a nurturing environment where he could flourish. Despite the challenges they faced, Lily and Collins never lost sight of love and joy that UZO brought into their lives. They celebrated every small victory, no matter how insignificant it may have seemed to others. To them, each milestone UZO reached was a testament to his strength and resilience, and they were grateful for the privilege of being his parents. As they continued on their journey together as a family, Lily and Collins knew that their love for UZO would always be their guiding light. No matter what obstacle they encountered along the way, they would face them with courage, determination, and unwavering faith in the power of love. As UZO grew rapidly, his days were filled with new adventures and discoveries. Lily and Collins watched in amusement as their son blossomed into a bright and curious toddler. They marveled at his boundless energies and infectious laughter, cherishing every moment they spent together as a family. When Uzo turned 2 years old, Lily and Collins decided it was time to enroll him in a prestigious school. They wanted him to have the best possible education and opportunities, and they believed that the school would provide him with the foundation he needed to succeed in life. One morning, Collins offered to drop Uzo off at school on his way to work as Lily wasn't feeling well. Uzo, ever the caring son, asked his mommy to take her time to get enough rest. He suggested that maybe it was just the stress of raising him that was making her feel unwell, but he was also reminded that if it persisted, she should go to the family doctor for a consultation. After Collins left with Uzo, Lily felt worse than ever. She was hot, weak, and on the verge of vomiting. Summoning all her strength, she made her way to the hospital for a checkup. After a series of tests, the doctor delivered unexpected news to Lily. "You are 4 weeks pregnant," the doctor announced, a smile spreading across her face. Lily was stunned. Tears of joy streamed down her cheeks as she processed the news. She couldn't believe that she was going to have another baby. After years of longing for a child of her own, the thought of being pregnant again filled her heart with overwhelming happiness. When Collins returned home from dropping Uzo off at school, Lily couldn't wait to share the news with him. She greeted him with a radiant smile and pulled him into a tight embrace. "Collins, guess what? We are going to have another baby," Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining with excitement. Collins was overjoyed by the news. He hugged Lily tightly, feeling a rush of love and gratitude wash over him. They had been through so much together on their journey to parenthood, and now they were being blessed with another precious gift. As they celebrated the news of their growing family, Lily and Collins felt a sense of gratitude and wonder wash over them. They knew that their lives were about to change in beautiful and unexpected ways, and they couldn't wait to embark on the new adventure together. As they eagerly awaited the arrival of their new baby, Lily and Collins felt more grateful than ever for the love and joy that Uzo had brought into their lives. As Lily and Collins eagerly awaited the arrival of their new baby, their excitement knew no bound. Their days were filled with excitement and anticipation. Lily's pregnancy progressed smoothly, and she took great care of herself and her growing baby. Collins showed her love and support, doing everything he could to make her feel comfortable and happy. Meanwhile, Uzo continued to thrive at school, making new friends and learning new things every day. Lily and Collins were proud of the smart and kind-hearted boy he was becoming, and they cherished every moment they spent with him. As Lily's due date drew closer, the excitement in their household reached a fever pitch. They prepared a cozy nursery for the newborn baby, filling it with toys, blankets, and clothes. Uzo was especially excited about becoming a big brother, eagerly anticipating the arrival of his new sibling. One sunny morning, Lily woke up feeling a slight twinge in her belly. She knew that it was a sign that the baby was coming soon, so she called Collins, who rushed home from work to be by her side. Together, they made their way to the hospital, filled with excitement and nervous anticipation. Lily's contraction grew stronger and more frequent as they journeyed to the hospital, but she remained calm and focused, knowing that soon they would meet their new baby. When they arrived at the hospital, Lily was taken to a cozy room with soft lights and soothing music playing in the background. The nurses and doctors bustled around, preparing everything for the arrival of the new baby. After a while, Lily felt the similar urge to push, with Collins holding her hand and offering words of encouragement. She pushed with all her might, determined to bring their baby into the world. And then finally, after what felt like an eternity, they heard the sweet cry of their new baby filling the room. Tears of joy streamed down Lily's cheeks as the doctor placed their new baby in her arms. "It's a boy," the doctor announced with a smile. Collins leaned in to kiss Lily on the forehead, his heart overflowing with love and gratitude. Together they gazed down at their beautiful baby boy, marveling at his tiny fingers and toes and the perfect little features that made him uniquely theirs. They named him Chidi, which means God exists in their language, a reminder of the miracle of his birth and the faith that had carried them through their journey to parenthood. As they cuddled their precious newborn son in their arms, Lily and Collins felt a profound sense of gratitude and wonder wash over them. They knew that their family was now complete, filled with love, joy, and the promise of a bright and beautiful future together. Lily felt overflowing gratitude toward God for blessing her with her own biological child. As she held little Chidi in her arms, she couldn't help but marvel at the miracle of his birth. After years of longing and prayers, God had finally answered their prayers, and Lily's heart was filled with joy and thanksgiving. 2 days after they returned from the hospital, Collins decided to call his mother to share the good news. At first, Madam Obi didn't pick up the call, but after two more attempts, she finally answered. "Hello?" Madam Obi said, her voice cautious. "Mama, my wife has delivered a baby boy. The Lord has used UZO to bless us," Collins exclaimed in excitement. Madam Obi couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Delivered a baby or bought another baby? Because that's all you people can do," she replied scornfully. Collins felt hurt by his mother's words, but he knew that actions spoke louder than words. "Mama, come and see for yourself," he said firmly before hanging up the phone. Madam Obi wasted no time. She rushed to Lily and Collins's house to confirm the news. When she arrived, her doubts were quickly cleared. The effects of pregnancy were still visible on Lily's body, and she was breastfeeding the baby. Madam Obi couldn't hold back her tears as she realized the truth of the situation. "I'm sorry, Lily, my son, for not standing by you during your trying times," Madam Obi apologized, her voice choked with emotion. But Lily and Collins were quick to forgive. They knew that this was a moment of joy and celebration, and they held nothing against Madam Obi. They urged her to stop apologizing and instead join them in welcoming their new baby into the world. With tears in her eyes, Madam Obi took over the nurturing of the baby so Lily could rest. She cradled Chidi into her arms, marveling at the miracle of his birth. Despite their past differences, Madam Obi felt a deep sense of love and connection to her new grandson, and she vowed to be the best grandmother she could be. As they gathered together as a family, Lily, Collins, Madam Obi, and UZO, they felt a profound sense of gratitude and joy. They knew that their journey had been filled with ups and downs, but through it all, they had remained united by love and faith. And now, as they welcomed their newest addition, they knew that their family was stronger and more blessed than ever before. As days passed, Madam Obi couldn't shake off the feeling of resentment towards UZO, Lily and Collins' adopted son. She couldn't stand the thought of UZO being treated as an equal to her biological grandson, Chidi. Slowly but surely, she began poisoning Lily's heart against UZO, planting seeds of doubt and distrust in her mind. "Lily, you shouldn't let UZO be your heir. He is not your real son. Your real son is Chidi. He should be rightfully inheriting everything," Madam Obi whispered to Lily one day when they were alone. At first, Lily argued against her mother-in-law's words. She couldn't fathom treating Uzo any differently from Chidi. After all, Uzo had been a blessing to them, and they had loved and cared for him as their own son. But as days went by and Madam Obi's words continued to linger in her mind, Lily began to reconsider her stance. She found herself thinking more and more about what Madam Obi had said. Maybe, she thought, Madam Obi was right. Maybe Chidi, her biological son, should inherit everything belonging to her husband as the heir. After all, blood was thicker than water, wasn't it? She whispered to herself. Days turned into weeks, and Lily's behavior towards Uzo began to change. She found herself being less affectionate towards him, less patient, less understanding. She couldn't quite put her finger on why she was feeling this way, but she couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that Madam Obi's words had planted in her heart. Collins, consumed with work and rarely at home, didn't notice the subtle shift in Lily's behavior towards Uzo. He continued to dote on both boys equally whenever he was around, unaware of the growing tension between his wife and his adopted son. Meanwhile, Uzo, sensing the change in Lily's demeanor towards him, couldn't understand what he had done wrong. He tried his best to be helpful and obedient, but no matter what he did, he couldn't seem to earn Lily's approval like he used to. As days turned into weeks, the rift between Lily and Uzo grew wider and wider until finally it seemed as though they were living in two separate worlds under the same roof. And all the while, Madam Obi watched from the sidelines, her heart filled with satisfactions at the success of her plan to drive a wedge between them. As the days passed, Lily found herself torn between her love for Uzo and her loyalty to her own flesh and blood. As days went by and Chidi turned one, Collins and Lily decided to host a birthday party to celebrate their son's special day. They wanted to make sure that Chidi's first birthday was a memorable one, filled with love, laughter, and joy. Collins set aside some money for new clothes for both boys, wanting them to look their best for the occasion. But when Lily went shopping, she only bought clothes for Chidi, leaving Uzo out. When Collins noticed Lily's change of attitude towards Uzo, he knew that something was wrong. He took her aside one evening, wanting to talk to her about it. Lily, I've noticed that you've been treating Uzo differently lately, Collins said gently, his brow furrowed with concern. You bought new clothes for Chidi, but not for Uzo. What's going on? Lily tried to act cool, but she knew that Collins had caught on to her behavior. She took a deep breath before speaking. I just think that Chidi deserves to be treated differently because he's our biological son. Lily replied, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Collins felt a surge of anger and disappointment wash over him. He couldn't understand why Lily was suddenly changing her attitude towards Uzo. After all, she had been the one who had pressured him into adopting Uzo in the first place. Lily, do you remember the pressure you gave me about adopting Uzo? Collins asked, his voice tinged with frustration. You were the one who insisted that we'll bring him into our family, and now you are acting like he doesn't belong here. Uzo has done nothing but love and adore us. He's our first child, and nothing can change that fact. Lily felt a pang of guilt as she listened to Collins. She knew that he was right. Uzo had been a blessing to them, and he had brought so much joy into their lives. She couldn't understand why she was suddenly feeling this way towards him. But despite her guilt, Lily couldn't shake off the feeling that Uzo didn't belong in their family. She was determined to find a way to take him out of their house, no matter what it took. As the days passed, Lily's resentment towards Uzo only grew stronger, casting a dark shadow over their once happy home. She couldn't shake the feeling that Uzo didn't belong, and she was determined to find a way to remove him from their lives. Lily's resentment continued to worsen, and she went as far as educating Chidi that Uzo was not his brother. She told him that Uzo was an illegitimate child, not a true member of their family. Chidi, being a curious young boy, took his mother's words to heart. He asked his father if it was true, and Collins was shocked to hear such words coming from his son's mouth. He asked Chidi, who had taught him such things, and Chidi confirmed that it was Lily, his mother. Collins felt a surge of anger and betrayal wash over him. He had never imagined that Lily would stoop so low as to poison their son's mind against his own brother. In a fit of rage, he confronted Lily for the first time since they have gotten married. "How could you do this, Lily? How could you teach our son such hateful things about his own brother?" Collins shouted, his voice filled with fury. Uzo, who had overheard their argument, rushed into his room, tears streaming down his face. He couldn't bear to hear his mother and father fighting because of him. But Collins saw him running and immediately followed him, wanting to confront him. "Uzo, come here," Collins said gently, wrapping his arms around him. "You are my first son, and nothing will ever change that. No matter what happens, you will always have a place in our family." Uzo felt reassured by his father's words, and he couldn't shake off the feeling of sadness and frustration that consumed him. He had never felt so alone and unwanted before. Meanwhile, Lily's determination to remove Uzo from their home only grew stronger. When Collins went out for some errands, she seized the opportunity to confront Uzo. "Pack your things, Uzo. I'm sending you back to where I picked you up from," Lily commanded, her voice cold and unyielding. Uzo was shocked and devastated by Lily's words. He tried to plead with her, begging her to reconsider, but Lily wasn't swayed. She even rebuked him from calling her mother, further adding to his pain. Fortunately, Collins returned home just in time to witness the drama that Lily was creating. He gave her a stern warning, telling her that if he came back and Uzo was not there, she would also have to pack her things and leave. Lily realized that she had gone too far, and she felt a pang of guilt for her actions. But her resentment towards Uzo blinded her to the pain she was causing her family. And as she watched Collins comforting Uzo, she knew that their once happy family was now on the brink of falling apart. As tension continued to simmer in Lily and Collins' home, Collins made the difficult decision to enroll Uzo in a boarding school. He hoped that this would give Uzo some space from the toxic atmosphere at home and allow him to focus on his studies. During school holidays, Uzo would spend time with Madam Obi, his grandmother. At first, it felt awkward for Uzo, knowing that Madam Obi hadn't always liked him. But as time went on, Madam Obi discovered the sweetness and kindness in Uzo's heart. She became very fond of him and regretted ever telling Lily to hate him. Uzo finished secondary school with excellent grades and went on to pursue his education at the university. Despite the challenges he faced at home, he found love and acceptance in the bosom of his grandmother. Madam Obi invited Lily over one day and advised her to reconsider her actions towards Uzo. She reminded Lily that Uzo was actually her first son and deserved to be treated as such. But Lily had gone too far with the hatred towards Uzo, and she couldn't bring herself to change her mind. Feeling frustrated and alone, Lily left Madam Obi's house, torn between her options. Uzo tried to reach out to her, but she refused to pick up her calls. He felt hurt and rejected, but he found solace in the love and support of his grandmother. Despite the challenges he faced at home, Uzo remained focused on his studies. He poured his heart and soul into his education and graduated from the university with flying colors, becoming a qualified doctor. As he stood on stage receiving his diploma, Uzo couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. Despite the odds stacked against him, he had persevered and achieved his dreams. And as he looked out into the crowd, he saw Madame Obi's proud smile, shining with love and admiration. In that moment, Uzo knew that no matter what happened, he would always have his grandmother's unwavering support. But deep down, he couldn't shake off the feeling of sadness that his own mother wasn't there to share in his joy. He hoped that one day Lily would come to realize the love and potentials that had always been within him. And until then, he would continue to find comfort and strength in the love of his grandmother and the knowledge that he had overcome every obstacle that life had thrown his way. As time went on, Lily found herself feeling increasingly empty and lonely without Uzo by her side. She realized that her hatred and resentment towards Uzo had only brought her pain and regret. She missed the joy and fulfillment that Uzo had once brought into her life, and she knew that she had made a terrible mistake in pushing him away. One day, Collins arranged a party to celebrate Uzo's success as a medical doctor. Friends and family gathered to congratulate him on his achievements, and Uzo felt overwhelmed with gratitude for all the love and support he received. During the party, Lily, his mother, seized the opportunity to apologize to Uzo for all her past actions. With tears streaming down her face, she poured out her heart to him, expressing her deep regret and remorse for the way she had treated him. "I am sorry, Uzo," Lily said, her voice choked with emotion. "I was foolish to disregard the love and joy that you once brought into our lives. Please forgive me." Uzo was taken aback by Lily's words. He had never imagined that his mother would come to him with such a heartfelt apology. Overwhelmed with emotion, he threw his arms around her and cried uncontrollable, feeling the warmth of her embrace after so long. In that moment, all the pain and resentment that had once filled their hearts melted away, replaced by a newfound sense of love and forgiveness. Lily realized that she had been given a second chance to make things right, and she vowed to cherish and appreciate Uzo for the rest of her days. As she stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, surrounded by the love and warmth of their family and friends, Lily knew that their journey had come to full circle. And as she looked into Uzo's eyes, she saw the forgiveness and acceptance that she had longed for. And she knew that their bond would only grow stronger from that day on forward. And so, with heart full of love and gratitude, Lily, Collins, Uzo, and Chidi embraced each other, knowing that they had finally found their way back to the happiness and fulfillment that had always been within their grasp. And as they danced together under the starry sky, they knew that their family was now whole once again, bound together by love, forgiveness, and the promise of a brighter future ahead. The most important lesson in this story is the power of love, forgiveness, and acceptance. It teaches us that holding onto resentment and hatred only brings pain and regret, while embracing love and forgiveness can mend broken relationships and bring about the healing and reconciliation. Through Lily's journey of realizing her mistakes and seeking forgiveness from Uzo, we learn that it's never too late to make amends, and that the bond of family can withstand even the greatest of challenges when nurtured with love and understanding. And with that, my dear friends, our story comes to a close. But remember, the magic of storytelling lives on, waiting to whisk us away on new adventures, where the wonders of imagination know no bounds. Goodbye for now, and may your dreams be filled with joy, wonder, and endless possibility. Thank you so much for watching. Please kindly comment, share, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting stories.